All right, this is a meeting of Labor and Economic Development on February 4th. It is 3:06 p.m. I am Enrina Weber, and I'm joined by my colleagues Crystal Bast, Ken Herndon, Andrew Owen, Dr. Paula McCraney, Councilwoman Purvis, and Councilman Batchon. We have nobody joining us virtually. And do you want to bring us to order here by making us legal?
You don't have to because you don't have a virtual meeting.
Oh, so we don't have to do that. That's very exciting. All right, the first item on the agenda is item R003-25, a resolution pursuant to the capital and operating budget ordinances approving the appropriation to fund the following non-competitively negotiated professional service contract for Louisville Metro Public Health and Wellness concerning service as the LMPHW Medical Director. Is there anyone here to speak to this?
Hello, Connie Mendel, Chief Health Strategist for Louisville Metro Public Health and Wellness.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Floor is yours.
Yeah, so I am here to request approval of a contract with Norton Healthcare in the amount of $60,000 for our Associate Medical Director, Dr. Christina Bryant. She is an infectious disease specialist, also a pediatric infectious disease specialist. We've had a really difficult time the last few years hiring a medical director, so this contract allows us to continue forward. She provides hugely critical services to our disease investigation team, particularly our tuberculosis clinic, but also our specialty or sexually transmitted illnesses clinic and other areas across the department. Also providing a direct link to healthcare-based systems, the Greater Louisville Medical Society, and the State Department for Public Health. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
We'll open the floor. That's motion by Councilman Batchon, second by Councilman Owen. We'll now open the voting. Oh, I did. Is there any more? Oh, sorry. Is there any more discussion? If there's not, then this is an item that requires a voice vote. Do we have to a motion to have a vote? Oh, brilliant. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by saying nay. The ayes have it.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is item number R00425. Budget ordinance is approving the appropriation to fund the following non-competitively negotiated professional service contract for Louisville Metro Public Health and Wellness concerning mental health screening for the Healthy Start participants. Is there anyone here to speak to this?
This time we're going to do it right. We're going to do the motion in a second now.
Great. Can I get a motion?
Second.
Connie Mendel, Louisville Metro Public Health and Wellness again. This is for a contract that directly works with our Healthy Start clients. Hopefully you're aware of Healthy Start, and that we work to improve health outcomes for mothers and newborn infants. Unfortunately, we still see entirely too high of infant mortality, reduced weights for infants, and maternal mortality. So this is specifically with mental health services. Our Healthy Start program has been operating for 27 years, and we have seen definite health improvements, data and evidence for the families that we work with in the zip codes, compared to families in those zip codes that are not in our program. So, and I'm happy to share those. So this is a $61,000 contract for Dr. Anicia Williams. She has provided clinical mental health services for our participants since 2020. She's an approved vendor for this federal contract. She's fully licensed clinical social worker, doctorate in social work, and holds certifications, both perinatal and postnatal mood disorders. I'm happy to provide additional information.
We'll open the floor.
I'm just wondering how many people, how many families were able to serve through this contract? Did you say that and I missed?
No, I'm sorry, I didn't. So the services are available for all of our families, and I think there are approximately 182 families in zip codes 40203, 08, 15, 18, 19, 58, and 72. And those are the areas that have been identified with the highest maternal mortality and infant mortality and reduced birth rates.
It's within that population that we serve that we're seeing improved rates over and against those zip codes that are not in the program.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And within those zip codes, we have improved rates with families that are in our program and those that are not.
Councilman Batchon?
Thank you. Part of the question I was going to have was answered in what you said, but the doctor, how is that, when this contract comes up, are they reissuing a new RFP, or are they just staying with the current doctor? How are we choosing this doctor? I don't know this doctor. I'm not saying good, bad, or indifferent. I'm just saying, how do we know we have the best for this contract? And what other metrics are we looking at to identify who are the patients or the recipients of this service?
So as far as those receiving the service, anyone living in those zip codes, that someone that's expecting or with a child under 2 years of age qualify. There is no income because we're working on the data that these are the areas with the highest maternal and infant mortality and low birth rates. This is a grant that we receive. It is a federal grant. Other metrics we look at and how this program has impacted. So 95% of our participants have health insurance. 80% have a usual regular source of medical care, not being the health department, but an actual pediatric or OBGYN practice. 99% have been screened for depression and interpersonal violence, interpartner violence. Over 75% have reported dual partner involvement in raising the children, and 80% report breastfeeding their child. So those are some of them. There are more, but those are some of the metrics we look at. Go ahead.
Is there any way you can send some of those metrics
Absolutely.
over to us? And then
Sure.
just because you mentioned one of my zip codes, and I just out of curiosity, what's the rate or percentage of the amount of participants in the program coming from 40272?
I don't have a. Let me see if I'm looking to see if I have a breakdown by zip code. I don't, but I can provide that.
I would appreciate that. Thank
Is
you.
it 72, correct?
Yeah.
Anyone else in the queue? Seeing none, this is an item that requires a voice vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do I need to say that? All right, the next item on the agenda is item R1025, a resolution ratifying and approving a letter of agreement to be effective from the date of approval by the Louisville Jefferson County Metro Council for the duration of the current collective bargaining agreement between Louisville Jefferson County Metro Government and the Central Midwest Regional Council of Carpenters on behalf of its members in the Codes and Regulations Department, Community Development, Planning and Design, ABC, and Solid Waste Management Services, which has an expiration date of June 30th, 2028. Is there anyone here to speak to this?
Motion.
Second.
Good afternoon. Angela Dunn, CFO with OMB. The side letter you have before you provides for wage increases for the alcoholic beverage control officers, that specific group within this contract. The average increase across all of the steps in the pay scale amounts to 28.5%. The overall cost of the contract over the life is estimated to be $155,500. That's based on 6 filled positions and 4 vacancies. And that's what. Any questions?
I don't see anyone in the queue. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm not in there.
Do we know where we are in a scale? I assume that the contract was negotiated based on comparable cities and where we stood within that. Do we know where we are in
So
that
this is a
pecking order?
side letter that is attached to an existing contract. It's my understanding, I don't know exactly where we fall, but that it was negotiated to move to market. I don't
And you-
know if there's someone here that can answer more precisely.
Hello, everybody. Brad Severia, Director of Alcoholic Beverage Control. So to answer the question, the side letter brings us up to a comparable level where we can recruit and retain people. So we've operated essentially half our enforcement team for about a year and a half. And it's because we were not competitive in wages. And the current CBA, while it's better, it still didn't meet our needs. And this gets us in line where I believe we're going to be able to not only recruit, but retain people here for hopefully a career. And that's my strongest desire. And I tell you that it's been tough. And this team, the enforcement team, if you all would stand up, please. So, thank you. So, Detective Rule just went through the police academy. We have an officer that's about to begin the academy, Jessica Goodman over here, and then we've hired Chief Investigator Ron Fay. This is our team, and then I'm really incredibly proud of them. And a lot of them honestly could have left and went elsewhere and made more money, and they didn't. They stuck with us, and we've triaged every situation to try to address every single need that we've had, and they've stuck around, and I'm beyond proud of them. And this will do nothing but help us attract, keep them, and get more people to come help them do their jobs.
I'm so happy that I asked that question.
I am
And
too.
it's super important, and I really appreciate anybody who staying, waiting until we got to this point. And I really do hope it does help recruitment. I mean, I think getting to full staff would be fantastic. I did hear the total amount of the contract, 155 or whatever that was. That's assuming that we get to full employment, or 10 out of 10, or I was kind of got lost a little bit there.
That estimate is based on what's currently filled.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, Brad.
Thank you.
Councilman Batchon?
Thank you, Chair. First of all, I want to start off with a testimonial. The work that Brad and his team are doing is just amazing. I can't say anything else. I can't say anything bad about him, except for that one time he gave me a citation. Just kidding. So, no, their work is amazing, and if we can have 100 Brads, then I think this city would be better off. Which leads me to, how many officers are we still short in your department, Mr. Severia?
We filled the chief's position yesterday. We're down 4 vacancies currently. So we've got Jessica starting the academy. We hired her and Detective Rule from Animal Control. And I'm sorry to Animal Control, but I'm really thankful that we got them. Right now, if this were to go through, we still have 4 vacancies. And what I believe will happen with the competitive pay is we'll have to send less people to the police academy. We'll attract more people who have been in the profession for a little longer, and then that way we can hit the ground a little faster, hit the ground running. If hopefully that answers your question.
Thank you. I'm going to follow up, if that's okay, Mr. Chair. Given those great circumstances where we're bringing everybody up to par and it covers the current amount of staff that we have, are we still going to be running a fall short when it comes to being able to retain those next 4? Are we going to be okay through OMB and I guess just in our budget to pay them what they need to be paid to keep them and retain them for a good career?
Okay. I'm going to say, if this doesn't attract and retain people, then I'm going to retire. I'm ready. But honestly, I genuinely believe it's a good deal for Metro and it's a good deal for the investigators. It's competitive, what I'm seeing in the market for investigators, because we're looking for long-term criminal investigators, people that know how to run long-term investigations. We recently added a member of our team to become a task force officer for Homeland Security. So we're starting to branch out into more complex criminal investigations. And a lot of our work, when you start paying the wages that we have we're receiving currently, it's just not an attractive number. And that's just when you can go to, for example, I'm going to throw out the sheriff's office, walk in the door and make 70 plus a year. It's pretty difficult to recruit somebody for a lot less than that.
We appreciate all your work and everything and all the dedication and hard work you put in for this city. So
Thank you,
thank you
sir.
so much.
Appreciate it.
If I can just echo my thanks, Director Silveira, you have been phenomenal and your team has been amazing. And, we definitely believe that paying you what you deserve, or at least as close as we can get to that, is an investment for our city. So grateful for your team and all of the great work that you all do. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
This is an item requiring a voice vote. Councilman Owen.
Brad, sorry. You alluded to it, but you and I have had this conversation before, that your officers are fully trained police officers with arrest powers.
Yes, sir.
So, I think that's important for people to know, that we're talking about police academy, and so this is, I just think, I didn't know that before you told me that, and so I wanted to say that publicly, that these are people who've been through the police academy and have full arrest powers, so, thank you.
And the scope of what you do is wide. It's not just the immediate. Actually, you want to take 30 seconds and just
Most
tell
people are kind of surprised by the things that we investigate and that we work on. I'm just, when I guess we had a meeting with some incoming council members. I didn't have the pleasure to meet you, and I've known Councilman Herndon for a long time. We brought some packets for the new council members, but what we do packet, from everything from, like I said, Homeland Security, doing federal investigations, to pawn shops, taxi cabs, human trafficking. I mean, you name it.
dumpster noise investigations.
Dumpster noise investigations.
I'm telling you, DA, this is our guy right here. Like, my people,
Well,
this guy.
I would like you to not advertise that, so. But otherwise, we do take everything we do very seriously, and sometimes, I've told Councilman Reno Weber, we've honestly been working with about half of our people, so sometimes you have to follow up with us, and it's an embarrassment when I get a call saying, hey, where are we with something? But honestly, everybody sitting behind me works their tail off to make sure that the complaints are worked and they're worked properly. And sometimes, it requires a follow-up phone call, but I'm telling you, we get on it. Everybody on my team will address one problem, and I bring on this new chief investigator. You ain't seen nothing yet.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to say, 25 years ago, I sat in a car with Mr. Watkins at 3 o'clock in the morning, monitoring bar noise behind Peninsula Tavern, so you're not just 9 to 5. I know that for a fact. I did that, so I'm very happy to vote in your favor today.
Thank you. I appreciate everybody.
Councilman Purvis, are you? Oh, okay. Oh, gotcha. Okay. This is an item requiring a voice vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? This item passes. Move on to the consent calendars. Did I say that right? Yeah, look at that. We're learning. All right. Next item on agenda. Item R1225, a resolution pursuant to the capital and operating budget ordinances approving the appropriation to fund the following non-competitively negotiated sole source contract for the Metro Police Department concerning analysis of police interactions to improve effectiveness and equity. Can I get a motion in a second?
Motion. Second.
Thank you. So moved and seconded. Is there anyone here to speak to this? And else here. Well, Councilman Syme wrote in saying that he was the initial sponsor, though he couldn't be here. Yeah,
This is Sonia, the clerk. If you would like to go ahead and pass it, because he is supportive of it, we can move it to old business. That way, he could speak to it if he'd like to.
okay. I don't know that he needs to speak to it. I mean, this
Okay.
is, so
Then we can move it
if
to
there are
consent.
items in evidence here, I'm happy to speak a little bit to it, if that's all right. All right. So this is a contract to do analysis around the equity of the interactions that the police department has. It's a sole source contract because this is basically the only person or the only organization that does this. It's Harvard. And I asked some questions around why we were sole sourcing this. And they sent me over a sort of, this is the best system that exists in the world. So if we want to have somebody come speak to it before we can, if we want to put it on old business, happy to. I will also note that my teenagers heard me going through the agenda last night, and they were like, someone named something Sigma, and that's good. Sigma squared is apparently double good. We had to check into that. But does anyone have any questions around this? Councilman Craney?
I would like to ask that we send it to old business so
Yes,
that
ma'am.
he can speak to it and that the public can be aware that the sole sourcing issue
Brilliant.
is appropriate.
We also have the attorney. Would that make you happy? I don't mean to put you on the spot. Let's send it to old business.
All right.
Well, it's not a matter of happy or not. I'm saying that
Yep.
for the public,
Sure.
when you talk about sole sourcing in a government, people need to understand that it's appropriate. And I just think that speaking to it in the council meeting, it would be really wise.
All right. What is the procedure for that? Okay, then we'll still take a voice vote and we'll send it to old business. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And we'll send it to old business. Thank you, Doctor. I like it. All right, that's the last item in the agenda. You have to get a motion to adjourn? All right. Without objection, we stand adjourned. Y'all get out of here. Thank you, Metro TV.
To live downtown, to work downtown, to visit downtown. Our fourth priority, we are going to continue making Louisville a healthier city. And in 2025, we're going to focus on doing that by opening and reopening some world-class public swimming pools, park amenities, and libraries all across our city. And for number 5, there's Thrive by 5. This year, Thrive by